stand before you all today for a very simple reason. It is that time of the athletic rotation that we seek to renew the leadership and direction of our association. Normally, a president and his team serves for 4 years before this assessment of their performance is carried out by the membership. Unfortunately for us, our president, whom we elected 4 years ago, the Honorable Howard Years, OJ, passed away suddenly. This was just a little over 1 year ago. And I think at this moment, we should have paused for a moment of silence. May his soul rest in peace and light perpetually shine. We all mourn his passing. After the passing of Mr. Years, I was elected to take over the mantle of leadership by the other members of the executive. And this was then ratified by the members attending last year's annual general meeting. A year has now passed. Jamaica is now in its 50th year of independence, and it is now time for us as an association to chart the next 50 years of our life. We have to be very careful that the first steps that we take are headed in the right direction, or we could get hopelessly lost. Over the last 4 years, we have grown in strength as an association, and we are now the third-ranked athletic association in the world, superseded only by the world powers, USA and Russia. If this assessment were to be redone on a per capita basis, we would undoubtedly be ranked as the #1 association in the world. At the Olympics in London this past August, our upward trajectory has continued, and we amassed a record haul of 12 medals, and this was evenly distributed across gold, silver, and bronze. We want to continue this upward trajectory, and I will outline some of the key steps that will give this desirable future outcome the best chance of happening. Some of the details are also outlined in the manifesto document that you have before you, and I enjoin you all to have a very careful read of the manifesto and really study, because this charts our path for the future. Unfortunately, a number of issues have clouded the campaign, and these need to be firmly laid to rest so that as an association we can go forward. I just want to read a small statement of tribute paid to me by the president of NACA, and I choose this statement because, as we all know, he's one of the people who are organizing a team, an opposite team to the team that I put forward. And it reads, and this is the report of the High Performance Center in Kingston, which was tabled and sent to the IAAF, and it was tabled on October the 2nd, 2012. It states as follows: Coach Leo Brown, the administrator at the center, has decided that all future athletes who are admitted to the center must undergo a complete medical upon arrival to determine their current physical condition and their ability to complete the type of training program that they will be expected to undergo. Here we must give much credit to Dr. Warren Blake, new president of the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association, who has given his professional services free of cost at times on a daily basis in attending to the athletes' various complaints. The IAAF is extremely grateful to Dr. Blake for his dedicated and selfless service to the center and look forward to his continued support. Now, having made such a glowing praise of me, the said gentleman is organizing a team against me. But what I say now, that what track and field needs in this country is people who are selfless and people who are committed to track and field. I get a lot of comments from people in the street on a daily basis. Oh, I must be earning lots of money in my post as president of the JAAA. And when I remind them that the executive position of the JAAA are all voluntary, where we give up our time and effort, free of cost, they refuse to believe my enjoyment, what I say to them. But we all know here that track and field, like other sports in Jamaica, is run on a voluntary basis. Now let's go to the issues that have come up in this campaign. And I've purposely stayed away from commenting on these issues in the media before now, because I see the path forward as one of performance issues and not controversies, not trying to tear down people in the public. But the first issue that has clouded the time is that of my assuming office. The impression has been given by some that something underhand took place, where the second vice president of an association is made president over the first vice president. You know, we are used to the fact that in associations there is an automatic role of succession. In the early 2000s, all sporting associations in Jamaica were mandated to become limited liability companies, governed by the boards of management with articles of association instead of a constitution. And all sporting associations are subject to the Companies Act of Jamaica. And as the Company Act states, whenever any vacancy is created on the executive of the board, there's no automatic right of ascension. And it is the executive of the board who, by voting, decides who from among their number fills the vacancy. And this is subject to ratification at the next AGM. This was done, and I was elected president, and our articles of association was followed to the letter. And that is how I became president of the association. No underhand dealings took place. Issue number 2. This concerns a letter I wrote to the Treasurer in confidence in March 2012. I outlined an issue, some issues of concern to me then. And if anyone has any knowledge of corporate governance, if you have concerns and they are not being answered, you document your concerns in writing. The letter was ensured by Mr. Watts to one of his close friends on the executive, who, unknown to him, copied the letter in a most devious fashion and kept it for all this time. He never raised any of the issues at executive meetings, and now in an effort to further his own ambitions, has sent the said letter to the press to create a bad impression of the association. This does not track and feel noble. As a result of the letter, when I wrote it, Mr. Watts and I have met, and we have discussed all the issues, and we have deepened our understanding of each other, and all the issues raised in that letter have been answered fully to my satisfaction. We have also had a retreat on these issues and other issues plaguing the association, and we are planning a further retreat to do with corporate governance, and this will be held early in the new term. The sum total of this is that my confidence in the Treasurer is such that he's still a part of my team. The next issue concerns succession planning. Now, as team leader, coming towards the end of a term, I have to decide what's best for the future of the association. Who best amongst the team can implement my vision? Can I carry the entire team forward? Does the entire team want to continue with me? Are there going to be people leaving the team? Do people all want to serve? I had one-on-one meetings with everybody on the team, and I asked them, are you willing to continue? Some said yes, and a few indicated that they would be seeking their own presidential mandate. And at least 2, in fact, indicated that they would be seeking their presidential mandate. One of them has since joined another team in a lesser position than president. All candidates agreed. All other members agreed that they were willing to proceed under my leadership. As part of putting a team forward, I started to have planning meetings. These meetings were held away from the JAAA's office, at the office of a company that I operate, and I am part owner of. Everybody attended where I wanted to go forward. A speech was given by one of our members that he was willing to be co-opted if it meant that I did not want him to remain in this said position. And he encouraged other members of the team to allow me a free hand to decide who I wanted to go forward. I have decided, and as part of my vision of going forward, that not all people can continue, and that changes needed to be made. If I want to chart a new path and a new way, we have to have leadership changes at the highest level. New people were brought in with new skill sets. Mr. Dave Myrie was brought in at the most senior position in the association following mine, because he possesses the skill sets that I think is necessary in guiding our association forward. Mr. Michael Frater, and I'm just going to select a couple. Mr. Michael Frater, one of our very decorated athletes who has served our country well, has participated from as far back as I can remember. My wife is short. He's not that old. But when I travel on teams with Michael, he has always been calm and collected, well spoken. He provides leadership for the athletes around him. And I've always recommended him amongst those to be chosen for team captain. But I think, you know, with Michael, we will represent the view of athletes. Because sometimes when you leave at the competition stage and you're a former athlete, things change. And there's no way to be as certain about the views of current athletes as having a current athlete on your board. The JAAA is unique amongst track and field associations in that we have the highest number of former athletes on our board. And with Michael Frater to be part of the new board going forward, we are going to cut new ground again, as we will be the first association that has current active athlete on this board. Now, obviously, if you are bringing in new people at the top, some of the people previously would have to be shifted. And in shifting one person, and I mean, I'm not here, and as I said, I've stayed away from the media because I do not wish, but I'm speaking about Donald Ward. I do not wish to be part of the destruction of any icon of track and field in this country. Because I've told people and I've told my partner, when all is said and done, there's a statue erected in the honor of Donald Ward outside of the stadium, and a country needs its heroes. Donald Ward has been my hero and will remain my hero despite all differences. But I must set the record straight. I have never discussed the positions of any member of my slate with Mr. Glenn Mills. I've had 2 discussions with Glenn about the elections of the JAAs. The first election was at my request. The first discussion was at my request, and Glenn asked me about my plans for the future. I outlined him. I gave him an outline, a brief outline of what my plans were, and he said, "Doc, I like them and I will support you. But there are some members of your current executive who are not pulling their full weight. And I cannot and I will not support a full slate. I will support those members who I think are suited to lead track and field in this country." He did not name the person he was speaking about, and I did not ask him, but as I felt I had a good idea of who he was referring to. The second discussion I had with Glenn was when I had to hurry to leave the country on urgent family matters, and I saw him at the airport. And I went across to Glenn and I said, "Glenn, I'm asking you to be one of the people who signed my nomination form. And I have in mind to ask 2 persons, one from the other being captain, and I'm going to ask that person who's in a leadership position to be my proposal, and I'm asking you to be my seconder. Glenn laughed and he said, okay, Dr. Blake, I will sign it. Because my aim is to unite all the people who have an interest in travel. Now, we look to the way forward, and I've outlined quite a number of this in the manifesto. But we must build upon the gate of the past. And in doing this, we have not waited, and we will not wait until after elections. But we have already commenced negotiations with a number of member federations and governments with a view to consolidate and broaden the scope of our international successes and move away from strictly success in the sprinting events to other events in an effort to move us from the third best performing federation to be #1 in the world. I have met and I've had discussion with Isaiah Kiplagat of the Kenyan Federation in an effort, and we have achieved an agreement in principle that there will be a coaching and athletic exchange where we'll send our best distance runners to Kenya to get training in distance running. I've had discussions with council member and member of the United Arab Emirates Association, Mr. Ahmad Al-Kamali, who is also due to attend Jamaica. Unfortunately, he will be coming on the 30th of this month, right after the election. But nonetheless, he'll be coming and he'll be discussing further avenues of cooperation, not just between track and field, but between country to country, because he brings great value to the table. So that is what has also been done as part of the way going forward. We have had discussions with the Cuban Federation, and it's not the Cuban Federation, the Cuban ambassador in Jamaica, as a representative of the Cuban government. Because in Cuba they do things slightly different from us. And we have written formally to the ambassador coming out of the meeting, and we are waiting word from the Cuban Federation and government, just exactly how the athletes exchange and the coaching exchange will go forward. Because we intend to send some of our coaches to Cuba to get training in field events, such as the pole vault, which Cuba is very good in, long jump, high jump, throwing events, because we intend to extend our expertise in these areas. We have also had meetings with the South African High Commission, and plans are afoot for a twinning of the University of Pretoria and our universities in Kingston. The University of Pretoria has 70,000 students on roll, and they are very well versed in science and technology, because a part of the way forward will be the application of science to our track and field. We have the talent here, but if we are not careful and we do not utilize the science available, people may just pass us because they are talent elsewhere in the world. If we look at our bronze medalist, Hans Parchment, when he went into the camp, he had a difficulty at the start. And with the help of the University of Birmingham, he was able, with the use of the high-speed motion capture and instant replay system that he had, he was able to iron out a lot of the bugs in his start, and he cut down his reaction time tremendously. And even though his start still looked shaky, he was able to manage a third place finish. And I think it was true testament to the value of the camp and what science and technology can do for performance. And we intend to continue this, and we are having discussions at the moment as we speak about the twinning of the University of Birmingham and the University of Technology and JAAA. So this is not something that we are waiting to make happen after the elections. We are actively going ahead, planning the way forward as we speak and as we compete for electoral success. We also wish to recognize the importance of the diaspora to our successes, as a number of our current and former athletes and coaches have made their home overseas. The diaspora also provide important support to our members when they travel. To this end, I'm still proposing to establish a post of an honorary international ambassador of the association as we seek to deepen our links with this very important group. We also intend, as we are the third best association in the world, and we also intend to engage with our sponsors and our current sponsors and new sponsors as we seek to ensure the greatest return for our successes. Because financing will also be a key part of the way forward. And as you see in the manifesto, one of the ways we'll be looking at is something that has not been tried in Jamaica before, and certainly only few associations in the world, is to float an international bond to raise funds for the association. We are also mindful that this year is an election year, that a number of our members have offered themselves for leadership positions of our organizations and in other states, and we wish them all well, and we trust in the collective wisdom of our membership to choose the team that they feel is best equipped to lead track and field athletics as we commence our journey for the next 58 years. And at this point, I would want to present our membership the best team to lead track and field in Jamaica forwards.